Welcome to part 7 of the Dargslan series. This is where we stop fighting our local models and start actually talking to them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of the prompts you copied from GPT-4 tutorials will fall apart the moment you point them at an 8B model running on your own hardware. That doesn't mean the model is broken. It means the prompt was written for a different beast. So today, we fix that. So before we write a single prompt, let's get the mental model right. An 8B model is not a tiny GPT-4. It's a different beast with different reflexes. It takes you literally, so vague in means vague out. Its context window is small and precious, so every token of preamble is a token stolen from your actual content. And it picks up on tone as much as instructions. Write like an expert, and you'll get expert prose back. With that mindset in place, here's the structure I keep coming back to. 4 parts, in order. Role sets who the model is. Task names the verb, what you actually want done. Format pins down the shape of the output, which is where most people lose control. And input is the raw material, kept clearly separated from your instructions. Miss any one of these and quality drops in predictable ways. Here's the same intent, 2 wildly different outcomes. Summarize this article gives the model no role, no shape, no boundary around the input. So you get 3 paragraphs of paraphrased mush, sometimes with invented details. The good version sets the role, fixes the count and length, kills the fluff, and walls off the article with a clear label. Same model, same article, but now the output is actually usable. Now, instead of repeating that structure on every prompt, you can bake it in once with a system prompt. Think of it as the model's standing orders. Set the role, the format, the constraints, and every message in that session inherits them. Here, one jock set system call turns the model into a SysAdmin that leads with the shell command and follows with a one-line explanation. Ask it anything, and that shape holds. Structure handles shape, temperature handles randomness. At 0, the model picks the most likely token every time, perfect for code, math, or anything where you want the same answer twice. Push it to 0.7 and you get personality. Past 1.0 and you're in brainstorm territory. For this series, 0.3 is the default, focused, mostly stable, and forgiving of the occasional weird prompt. Match the dial to the task, not the other way around. Knowing the dials is one thing. Setting them mid-conversation is another. Inside the Ollama chat /set lets you tweak parameters without restarting anything. Drop temperature to 0 for deterministic code, cap num predict at 250 when you want short answers, or set a stop string like triple hash to halt generation cleanly. And when you lose track of what you've changed, /show parameters lays it all out. Now, parameters only get you so far. The real leverage with smaller local models is showing them the pattern instead of describing it. A 7 or 8B model will struggle if you just say, classify this by sentiment, but give it 3 worked examples, positive, negative, neutral, and suddenly it locks onto the format and answers in one word. Show, don't tell. That's the whole trick. The same principle applies to reasoning. Ask a local model a multi-step word problem cold, and it'll often blurt out something confidently wrong, like claiming 2 trains heading the same direction never meet. But add 5 magic words, think step by step before answering, and the model walks through the math. Distances, closing speed, time to catch up. Same model, same problem, right answer. You're not making it smarter, you're giving it room to work. Now, before we move on, let's talk about the ways people sabotage themselves. Treating a local model like Google is the big one. No internet, no live data. It literally cannot know tomorrow's weather. Asking for sources from a base model just invites hallucinated URLs. Long preambles waste context. Negative-only instructions confuse the model. Tell it what to do, not what to avoid. And stuffing 5 questions into one prompt almost guarantees you'll only get 2 answered. Clean prompts, clean answers. That last point about negatives deserves its own slide because it's one of the highest leverage fixes you can make. Instead of don't be verbose, tell it answer in 2 sentences max. Instead of don't explain the code, say return-only code, no comments. The model has something concrete to aim at, instead of a fuzzy boundary to avoid. Same intent, dramatically better compliance, especially on smaller models that don't have the headroom to reason about what you really meant. When the first reply misses, resist the urge to rewrite your prompt from scratch. The model still has the whole conversation in its context window. Lean on that. Get a draft, then layer in changes turn by turn, add a feature, tighten the format, strip the prose. Each round is cheaper and more targeted than starting over, and you end up with exactly the output you wanted instead of fighting the same prompt 3 times. Once you've got the iteration loop down, it helps to have a few go-to shapes ready. These 3 cover most of what you'll actually do with a local model. Extract pulls structured fields out of messy text and asks for JSON back. Rewrite reshapes tone, length, or style without losing meaning. And explain breaks something complex down to a chosen level. Memorize the skeletons, swap the placeholders, and you've skipped the blank page problem entirely. So, zooming out on part 7, local models are literal, so be explicit. Lean on the 4-part pattern, role, task, format, input, every single time. Match temperature to the job instead of trusting the default. Show examples rather than piling on instructions. And when something misses, refine in place. Don't throw away the context you've already built. And here's the whole thing on one page. 12 patterns and parameters that'll carry you through most of your local prompting work. The left column is structure, role, format, system instructions, temperature for writing, few shot, positive framing. The right column is precision, clear task verbs, marked inputs, temperature 0 for deterministic work, output caps, step by step, and iterate instead of restart. Screenshot it, pin it, tape it to your monitor, whatever works. That wraps part 7. Prompting is officially in your toolkit. Next up, we take everything you just learned and bake it into a real reusable model. One model file, one Alma create command, and your custom assistant lives on disk forever. Same system prompt, same temperature, same behavior every single time. Stop retyping your setup. Start shipping your own bots. See you in part 8.